Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for holding this hearing. Admiral Greenert, I know that at least I understand that you're reviewing the tactical aviation inventory. I think last week at a House hearing you talked about this and how it might relate to a couple of planes that we make in our state. But you want to talk a little bit about the Super Hornets as they may fill a gap here or not, and then any comments you'd want to make about the electronic attack aircraft, the Growler. I'd like to hear that.
Yes, sir, Senator. The situation is, we're in the middle of a transition from what we call the Legacy Hornet. That's the A through D to the Super Hornet, the EF. And that transition requires that we retain a certain number of the Legacy Hornets, but they're old. They were built to fly 6,000 hours. They're well beyond that, and we are trying to get them out to 10,000 hours. We've put this program in place 3 years ago. There were caveats. How complicated was it going to be? What kind of skill did we need? And we assumed the depots would all be open with skilled workers. Then sequestration hit, and we found as we're opening and looking at these A through Ds, there's more corrosion. It's more complicated than we thought. It's taking longer. In the meantime, they're not getting through the depots and out into the fleet. They represent about 20% of the fleet. Well, the 80% are the Super Hornets. So we're using them up more than we originally intended. A great aircraft, it's a great aircraft. So as we look out into the future, we say, hey, we're using these up more than we thought. We have to look out ahead to the hours on the Super Hornet, because this is one of our it's a piece of our strike fighter package, our enterprise, into the 2020s and 2030s as we bring in the Joint Strike Fighter. So here's the conundrum. Can we get these Legacy Hornets out and in time so that we don't wear out the Super Hornets prematurely? And so balancing that becomes the deal as I go through these next 3 or 4 years where we'll have the Legacy Hornets. So right now we have a plan in place to get our way through this, but there are risks, and I just described the plan. There are risks to all of that. Do we get the artisans, can we get the engineers, and can we get these Super Hornets through in time? So we have a shortfall in Super Hornets. We do, and we're going to have to work our way through here in order to manage it. Would we have bought more? It was a matter of a budgetary decision here in Endgame to compare our TAC air with the other requirements in the budget. And as I listed in my statement, regrettably, some of the risk we've been taking is in aircraft procurement. To electronic attack, as I came before the committee last year, I said, I'm concerned we won't have enough electronic attack aircraft. The Growler is the department's primary aircraft, only aircraft in this area. The committee responded, the Congress responded, and I thank you for that, Senator, and your part in that. I requested that we get a study done this summer and unambiguously declare what the requirement would be. Didn't get done. It's in progress for this next year. So with your help, and the committee's help, we have what we need today. What I don't know yet, until we finish this study and get an unambiguous declaration, what will the electronic capabilities be in the requirement be in the future?
On the Super Hornets, do you have a sense of what your shortfall may be?
I think probably the equivalent of 2 or 3 squadrons might be. It could manifest to that. I have to see what that turns out. Now, shortfall means, that would be the ultimate, that would be the, if you will, the sweet spot of the number we have. We can work through a certain number of shortfall, 70, 80, and we've done this before. But the question remains, as we work through this legacy piece, how many hours are we using up on the Super Hornets that we didn't intend as we started this journey?
And when do you think that review will give you some more specific information as to where you are compared to where you thought you would be?
The real issue becomes getting the legacy through those depots. In about 15 months, I'll have a much better feel, because they're starting to pick up speed now, fortunately, as we go along. But the world's getting a vote, as we say, and we're flying long missions overseas now. They are into Afghanistan and even into Iraq and Syria. It's a long flight.
Well, of course, I don't need to remind you, but keeping the line open here becomes critical with no orders beyond what we put in on the Growler, and the Growler and the Super Hornet use that same capacity and facility. And I want to continue to talk to you about this, so let's, when you have more information, I'm sure the committee would be glad to hear it, but I would particularly be glad to hear more as that study develops.
Will do, Senator.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.